Hello, everyone, and good morning. It's Leah again joining you for another Sunday morning yoga. And as always, I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to be here with you all and to share this practice with you. And I appreciate all the wonderful, kind words that so many of you share with me about class and how much you've been enjoying your experience. So thank you so much, and thanks again for being here this week. If you don't know, you can find all of these videos on our Hacienda at the Canyon YouTube page. And so if you ever miss out on a class or you just want to get that yoga in the middle of the week, that's always an option. And so we're happy to help you navigate to find that on your computer or your tablet or anything like that. With that, go ahead and find your way into your yoga space in your apartment. Find your sturdy chair. Make sure you have a little bit of room around you to kind of spread out and move around. I always suggest that you go barefoot for the practice, but you're always welcome to be in socks or your shoes if that makes you more comfortable. I definitely suggest bare feet as that gives you the best point of contact with the ground and helps your foot get a little bit stronger as well. Find your way to your seat. Take a moment to kind of let other distractions go away. Rest your feet comfortably underneath your knees. Sit up really tall. Just close your eyes. Starting to allow your focus to go inward. There often can be a lot going on in your life, in your day, maybe just a lot on your mind. And so taking a moment to table that and just focus on where you're at, how you feel, and notice your breath. Maybe you start to notice or acknowledge a spot of tension, maybe something that feels differently than it did yesterday. And you can simply observe your breath at the pace it's at, or you might start to deepen your breath, encouraging your inhale to go down into your low belly, filling up and expanding out, and emptying completely as you exhale, releasing all your air, drawing low belly in and up. You can breathe in and out at any pace that works for you, but just noticing that pacing, coming back to your breath, that's what really separates movement from a yoga practice. Remember that we'll take several different movements, and often I will give modifications or different levels for some of the movements that we'll do. If at any time a movement seems like it just is not working for you today, remember that you can always choose to take your own modifications, take the movement at any level, and you can also choose to simply skip over a movement. You can rest here at this comfortable seat, notice your breath, and catch back in when you're ready. Open your eyes, press your feet down a little bit into the ground, and you might feel like your seat is sliding back in your chair. That's good, that means your legs are working. Sit up taller, shoulders over hips. Big breath in and out. Again, inhale and exhale. Make sure you have space between your spine and the back of your chair, and start to move through cat and cow. On your inhale, lean forward, open your chest, squeeze your shoulders together on your spine. With your exhale, round back, tuck your chin to your chest. Inhale forward, and exhale, rounding back. You can move at your own pace, letting breath start first and movement follow. Maybe you start to add in some of your own movements here. To be rolling your neck out or shifting side to side. Maybe one of these two just feels really good this morning and you want to stay there a little longer. Finish out one more round of cat and cow, and come up to a tall neutral spine. Press your feet down gently into the ground and make sure that your ankles are right underneath your knees, so shins are vertical. Grow a little taller through the crown of your head, And notice that as you try to sit up taller, likely your chest opens forward a little. Balance that movement with your waistline drawing back to your spine so you feel your core start to engage a little bit. On your next inhale, sweep your arms up overhead. Make your arms even more straight. Squeeze biceps in by ears and reach up through fingertips. Again, balance the feeling of chest coming forward with waistline drawing back. Press your feet down for a firm base of support from the ground all the way up. Take one more breath in. Exhale, arms by sides. Reach down actively through your fingertips. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Then inhale, arms up. Growing taller and taller. Press feet down firmly. Draw waistline to spine and squeeze biceps in by ears. One more inhale. Exhale, release down. Inhale, sweep up. And this time on your exhale, make cactus arms. Bending at the elbows, press palms back in line over your elbows and squeeze shoulders together on your spine. The more you squeeze your shoulders in, the more active this pose becomes. The more strength you build and the more you'll get an opening through your chest. Take one more breath in. Exhale, arms out at shoulder height. Turn your palms to face down. Inhale here. And exhale, arms by sides. The same way again, inhale up. Exhale, hold in cactus. Maybe squeezing shoulders in a little more. Maybe pressing palms back over elbows. Inhale here. Exhale out to shoulder height. Big breath in. Exhale down. One more time, a little quicker. Inhale up. Exhale the cactus. Inhale here. And exhale, arms up. Inhale, reach through fingertips. Exhale, arms by sides. Take your right hand across for your left leg. Draw your left shoulder up to your ear, down and back, twisting open to the left. Press your feet down firmly and notice that your knees might have wanted to come together or go wide. And try to keep shins vertical, knees in line right over your ankles. Take one more breath in. Exhale, untwist. Left hand across for your right leg. Right shoulder draws up, back and down. You can place your hand beside or behind you on the seat for a little extra support in your twist. Press your feet down, knees stay in line over ankles. Take one more breath in. Exhale, untwist. Twisting again to the left, right hand comes across. Left shoulder up, back and down, twisting open. This time, notice that perhaps when you started to twist, you started to lean back and round your spine. That's going to limit how much space you have to create the twist. So think chest lift, really strong all the way through your core, from the center of your body, growing taller through the crown of your head. On an exhale, untwist. Left hand across for your right leg. Right shoulder up, back, and down. Lift your chest as you twist to the right. Press feet down firmly. Keep growing taller through the crown of your head and lift your chest. Exhale and untwist. Big breath in. On your exhale, hinge from the hip crease, lean slightly forward. Our goal is to get shoulders more or less in line over your knees, but you might find you have stretch to spare and begin to walk your hands down your legs. Press your feet down firmly so that your feet have a little more weight than your seat. This will make the backs of your legs strong as you're stretching. Walk your hands back up your legs. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, release out. Relax your shoulders, relax your face, relax your jaw. One more forward fold. Inhale, grow taller. Exhale, hinge from the hip crease and lean forward. For a little more of a challenge, you might take your hands away, maybe to heart center, or hold your opposite elbows, just to get a little more strength building here as you fold. Continue to press your feet down into the ground. Roll upright on an inhale. Exhale, relax your shoulders. Make sure feet are planted underneath your knees, about hip distance apart. Make sure your seat is firmly planted in the chair, shoulders stack over hips each time we return to this position. Press both feet down firmly, and then extend your right leg out. Flex and point your foot a few times, maybe roll your ankle, and then draw your knee up to your chest, squeeze in. Lift your chest towards your leg, and at the same time, draw your leg towards your chest. Sit up even taller, and continue to press your left foot down to the ground. And then release your right foot back down. Reset in neutral, shoulders over hips every time. Press both feet down, and extend your left leg out. Flex and point your foot, maybe roll your ankle, and then squeeze your knee up into your chest, chest towards knee, knee towards chest, growing a little taller. Release your left foot back down to the ground. Press both feet down and sit up, shoulders over hips. It's natural to lean back each time. Just start to notice it and see what can I do to sit up a little taller, to keep shoulders over hips. That's also going to build more strength in the front of your body. Right leg again, extend out. Flex and point your foot a few times. Roll your ankle. Squeeze your knee up into your chest, and this time you might stay here, or you might start to sort of explore your range of motion here. You can keep both hands on your leg, or maybe take your left hand away and use just your right arm. There's not really a right or wrong way to explore this movement. You can also continue to move your ankle and foot and see how that changes what's going on with your leg. Finish out your movement and release your right foot back down underneath your knee. Sit up tall, shoulders over hips every time. Press both feet down, left leg extends. Flex and point, draw your knee up to your chest, squeeze in. And this time, you're welcome to stay right here or start to explore those movements. Maybe beginning with small movements and moving on to larger ones. Again, there's not a right or wrong way to do it. Just seeing where you're at today, noticing how different things feel. And again, play with your foot and ankle. That's going to change the relationship of the rest of your leg. Finish out your next movement. Release your left foot back down. Notice, how much should I lean back? Sit up a little taller, lift your chest, press your feet down. Big breath in. Long breath out. Right leg extends. Flex and point your foot. Squeeze knee up to your chest. Stay here. Or this time, open your leg as far out to the side as you can while still keeping your chest pointing forward. So we don't want to turn all the way to the side. You want to simply open your leg. Flex your toes up towards your knee. And then maybe see if you can keep your leg lifted. Hand floats away for one moment. And then close back off. Release your foot back down. Shoulders over hips, sit up tall. Press both feet down, extend your left leg. Flex or point your foot, squeeze up and in. This time, flex your foot and open that knee right out to the side. How far open you can go will just depend on where you're at this morning. So be kind, be gentle to yourself. Don't push beyond your capacity. Flex toes up towards your knee, maybe floating that left arm away. Return back to the center. Release your foot back down. Shoulders over hips. How do we do with that? Walk your feet out wide, ending with heels in, toes out. But notice knees are still in line over ankles, so shins are vertical. Press your feet down into the ground. It should feel like your seat slides back in your chair. More stretch through your inner thigh. This might be enough stretch for you, in which case stay right here. If you'd like a little more stretch, start to hinge slightly forward. Maybe using your hands for support on your thighs, or if you'd like, you can walk your hands down your legs, maybe reaching the ground. You want to avoid pressing directly into your knee, as that can do some funky things with the rest of your leg. Press your feet down firmly as you roll back upright. Take a big breath in. Long breath out. One more time, big breath in. Long breath out. Use your left hand to support yourself on your thigh. Reach, right arm up by ear. Take an inhale. On your exhale, tilt over to the left. Taking a little bit of a stretch through your right side. Move your top shoulder back rather than letting it dip forward. opening up and back really tall. Inhale up through center. Right hand down, left arm up by ear. Big breath in. Exhale, tilt over. Press your feet down and away from each other and keep knees going out in line over ankles. Naturally, you find your knees want to dip inward. So use the strength in your legs to move those knees out. Inhale up through center. Exhale, left hand down. Walk your feet back in to be hip distance apart. Big breath in. Exhale, release, empty out. Take your right foot and slide your heel just slightly forward. Heel about in line with your left toes, and then lift your right toes all the way up and back towards you. Press your heel down. This is gonna make your leg feel like it's getting stronger. And then stay here or hinge slightly forward. Reach your fingertips towards your right toes. If you like the idea of being able to grab your foot, but the reality is that it's not as close as you would like, split the difference by taking a shirt, a belt, a towel around your foot and just holding on with your hand. That way you can press your foot into that towel, drop back with your right shoulder, and get a ton of strength building in the back of your body, lending itself to a more complete and safe stretch. Inhale upright. And replace your right foot. Slide your left foot ever so slightly forward, about heel in line with toes, and lift your toes up and back towards you. Flex your foot. Anchor through your heel, press down and forward. Inhale. Reach your left arm out, stay or hinge from the hip crease. Move both shoulders together at the same rate rather than reaching more with your left hand. And if anything, take your left shoulder and plug it back on your spine. Maybe taking that towel or t-shirt around your foot if you like the extra little bit of pressure that you can get there. And then release, roll upright on an inhale. Exhale, replace your foot. Big breath in. Long breath out. Take your right leg, extend it out. Draw knee up to chest. Stay here or ankle over knee. Make a figure four shape. Flex your right foot, keep your ankle super strong. Continue to support with your hands or begin to let your knee drop, maybe supporting with one hand, or if it feels okay, you can take both hands away. If you feel any pain in your knee, come back up out a little bit and ensure that your ankle is flexing your toe right up towards your knee. That's gonna protect your knee from overstretching and move this opening more into your hip instead. If you'd like a little more stretch, hinge forward from the hip crease, shoulders come in line over your knees, over your shin. You can use your hands for support any way that works for you. Move back upright. Draw knee to chest, squeeze in, and release your foot back down. Press both feet down, sit up tall, left leg extends. Draw knee to chest. You're welcome to stay here or cross your ankle over your knee, make a figure four shape. The most important part of this setup is flexing your ankle, keeping your ankle and foot strong, think big toe up towards your knee. You're welcome to continue to support your legs with one or both hands, or maybe letting gravity do its thing. Again, if you do feel pain in your knee here, you want to back up out of the stretch, commit to that ankle engagement, and then notice how that's going to put the stretch more into the outside of your left hip. If you'd like to hinge forward, press your right foot down, think hips back, extend out through the crown of your head, using your hands to support you however you like best. Inhale upright. Draw your right knee to your chest, left knee to chest, and release back down. Taking one more wide leg fold, heel toe your feet out, ending with heels in, toes out, knees go out in line over ankles. Stay here or with an exhale, hinge from the hip crease, leaning forward. Especially if you feel pretty secure in this stretch, press more and more through your feet, feel your seat getting lighter. Hinge upright on an inhale. Exhale, walk your feet back in together. We're going to continue with a few standing poses. We'll go through Warrior 1 and Warrior 2, as well as a low lunge variation that most of you are familiar with by now. I will do a quick demonstration of how to best participate in these poses from the chair, if that's what you feel most comfortable with. Remember that if you don't find the back of your chair to be particularly supportive, something that's kind of like counter height, like if you have a kitchen island or your kitchen counter or table, or additionally your walker if you use one, can be really, really great options for practicing some of these standing and balancing poses. To start out with Warrior 1 and Warrior 2 from the chair, what you're going to want to do is slide back a little bit in your seat and then slide all the way over to the left so that your right leg is being supported by the chair. You might find, especially if you're taller than me, which most of you are, that if you turn to a slight diagonal, you can get more of your leg to be supported by the seat of the chair than you could just sitting in it normally. Then what you want to do is walk your left leg out and back. You might begin with your knee bent, and it might stay bent, or you might straighten your leg out, turning your hips forward. You don't want to feel pain in your back knee, so if that's the case, definitely lift your heel and bend your knee a little bit. Tuck your tailbone forward, kind of like a pelvic thrust, and then draw your belly button back towards your spine. You can use your hands to support you on the chair or reach up. The predominant stretch here is in the front of your back leg, up through your hip flexor, and you might even feel some up through your stomach in the center of your body. Big breath in. Exhale, release your hands down to switch sides. Bring your left foot forward carefully, and then you're going to scooch all the way over to the right, so your left leg is supported by the chair. I'm going to show what it would look like if you turn to the 45. So my leg is kind of all the way across the chair. Right leg walks back, either here with the knee bent, or you can take that leg more straight and anchor your back heel down toward the mat. Tuck your tailbone forward. And you can continue to support with your hands or reach up. You can see here I'm doing a version where my heel is lifted and I have just a little bend in the knee. That's just what feels best for me this morning and what's allowing me to get this nice stretch through the front of my back leg. In yoga, it's a lot more about what do you want to feel in the pose, what am I working to stretch, what am I working to strengthen, rather than what does it look like. So it could look different for every person. Bring your arms down, bring that right leg out and around. And so to switch sides, you'll just scooch back and forth on the chair. I'll quickly show Warrior 2 sitting down. You'll start in this wide stance. And then you'll turn your right toes out. Left heel goes out to make that leg more straight. Now I'm pretty far forward on the edge of my seat here, and if you find that's not enough support, you just scoot back. So again, your entire right thigh is more on the chair. Warrior 2, you keep your shoulders facing forward and open your arms out to the side. To switch sides, simply pivot left toes out, right toes in, and switch sides. And again, you can kind of scooch over to create more support underneath your left thigh. Warrior 2. We will have a few more opportunities to practice this pose. Just going through quickly for those folks who prefer to stay in the chair. I'm going to show the standing versions now. So if you would like to stand up, if you're not already, go ahead and come around to the back of your chair. I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see a little bit more clearly. You want to start setting up about as close to your chair as you can comfortably stand, but make sure that you're not starting out leaning forward to hold on to the back of your chair, or that you're not starting out leaning back and kind of using your hands to press away from you. It's really easy when you have your hands supporting you to unconsciously do one of those two things. So stand firmly on both feet, shoulders over hips, over your ankles, and just lightly rest your hands on the chair. Then step your right foot forward. Bend your right knee a lot as you step your left foot one giant step back. The length of your stance you want to be about as long as you can comfortably manage without your feet just sliding away from each other. Just as with seated, you can anchor your heel down towards the ground, and that's going to create a stretch in both the front and back of your leg. Or you can lift your heel, take a little bit of bend in that knee. That way we're focusing more on the stretch in the front of the leg. Both are really good options, and you want to choose the one that meets you exactly where you're at today. Be kind to yourself, notice what you're feeling in your body. To increase the stretch further, tuck your tailbone forward and draw your waistline back. Nice, and then maybe reach arms up. You can always leave one hand on the chair, or even just floating your hands away for a moment can help build better balance over time. On an exhale, bring your hands back down, step your left foot forward, right foot back, and return to your neutral stance. Then left foot forward, bend your left knee, step your right foot all the way back. You might notice that your stance needs to be a little bit different on this side. Maybe anchoring through your heel, maybe lifting your heel and taking a little bend in the knee so that you can experience more of a stretch in the front of your leg. Tuck your tail forward, draw your waistline back, and in your front knee, think reach forward as if you could make your femur bone longer. Medical doctors don't come for me for saying make your femur bone longer. I know that you can't really. Draw waistline back. Maybe those hands reach up, maybe just one hand. Exhale and release down. Right foot forward, left foot back. Switch sides one more time in warrior one. Right foot steps to the chair. Bend your knee, left foot back. Tuck tailbone forward, draw waistline to spine, reach through your front knee. And work to square your hips. So you might notice naturally your hips want to turn away from the chair. You want to point both hip bones as much towards the chair as you can. Exhale, arms come down. Left foot steps forward. Right foot steps back. Last time, last side. Left foot forward. Right foot back. Finding your warrior one stance. And again, noticing that maybe your hips have turned quite a bit away from your chair or whatever surface you're using for support. Turn left hip back. Right hip forward to point your hips more directly at the chair. Arms are up, take one more breath in, then exhale, hands back down. Right foot forward, left foot back. We'll move to warrior two. To set up for warrior two, you're behind your chair, step your feet out to a nice wide stance. Point your toes directly forward. I'm gonna stand away from my chair so that you can better see me for this pose. You want your feet, again, to be as wide as they'll comfortably go without sliding away from each other. You can start with hands on hips, and then pivot your right toes out 90 degrees. Keep your shoulders stacking right over your hips, and bend your right knee, reaching it forward. It's really common here to lean over your front leg. It's a really powerful pose, and so often we'll unconsciously lean towards what we think is the front. So keep shoulders back over hips, opening up wide across your hips, really strong through your back leg. If you'd like, arms go out to a T. Straighten your right leg. Turn right toes in. Pivot left toes out. Again, keep shoulders in line over hips and bend your left knee like you're reaching forward. This is another one of those poses where you want to feel like your femur bone is getting longer, extending out. Tuck your tailbone forward. So notice, you might kind of be showing off behind you. You want to tuck underneath and then move your front knee out or over your pinky toe. Straighten your left leg up. Turn all 10 toes back to the chair. If you're seated, come to that wide stance for wide leg fold. We've done a couple times already. If you're standing, make sure you have space behind your chair. Maybe step back slightly. Take a little bit of bend in your knees. Press your hips back and start to fold forward. You can stay right here, or you might use the back of your chair to continue to walk your hands down the chair to any level or all the way down to the floor. Feel free to bend your knees as much as you like. Press your feet down firmly and begin to roll back upright. Slowly bringing shoulders back over hips and setting up for another round of warrior two. Right toes turn out. Bend your right knee, reaching that knee forward. Move your knee out, more in line over your pinky toe, and tuck your tailbone forward. Lift your chest, extend from sternum out through fingertips. Maybe turn your gaze over your right hand. Straighten your right leg, right toes in, left toes out, and bend your left knee, warrior two. Last time here, bend and widen front knee, tuck your tailbone forward underneath you, strong back leg. Lift chest, extend out through fingertips, inhale. Exhale, arms down, straighten your left leg. Turn all 10 toes forward. One more wide leg fold. So if you're behind your chair, make sure you have space. If you're still seated, simply fold forward using your hands to support you. Press your hips back. Maybe walking your hands down your legs or down the chair. Maybe taking hands under your shoulders. Notice that it's common here for toes to want to turn out when you're standing. So if you are standing up, make sure that your toes point directly forward. Roll back upright. Take a big breath in. Exhale out. One more time, big breath in. Exhale out. Heel toe your feet back together. We're going to practice a version of low lunge where we use the chair for support. So if you do prefer to stay seated, what you're going to do is take that warrior one pose again where we slide to the side, but you're going to turn sideways in your chair so that you actually are facing towards the right. Make sure that your left leg is free out in the front of your chair, and you want to walk your foot back until your knee is basically directly underneath you, like so. Nice. Then bring the strength of the pose by tucking your tailbone forward, drawing your waistline back to your spine. As you do this, notice, did my knee lift up out to the side? Draw that knee back in to point directly down. If you want more stretch here, take your right hand to your chair back, reach your left arm up, and tilt towards the chair. Feeling really supported here. If you don't require as much support from the chair, you have two options. If it's okay for you to get down on the ground, you can make this exact same shape with your knee down, using the support in that way and pressing your hips forward. Feel free to add extra padding under your knee, like folded over towel. You also have the option to practice this with your knee lifted, just using the chair for support under your hand. So those are kind of the options. I'm going to demonstrate this in-chair version. It's one of my favorite ways to do it, as the leg that you're stretching doesn't have to take as much body weight onto it. To switch sides here, you're going to take your left foot forward. You're going to walk your feet through the center and swing yourself all the way around the point towards the left. Make sure your left thigh is supported by the chair and that your foot can plant. And then your right leg walks back until your knee points down. Tuck your tailbone forward. It feels like a pelvic thrust. This can also feel sort of like your knee and your foot are squeezing in together. Notice, did your knee lift up and want to go out to the side? Point it directly down. And then maybe add more stretch by taking right arm up by ear, holding on to the back of the chair, and tilting over in the direction of the chair back. Noticing, did my knee lift? Draw it back in and down. And again, on this side, you do have the option as well to simply bring your right knee down to the ground, tuck your tailbone forward, and reach your hips forward. And you also have the option to do this with your knee lifted, supporting on the back of the chair. This is the most strength building version. Like I'd say this is, for me, the most challenging. This is challenging in the sense that your knee has to go down on the ground. Sitting on the chair gets you the same amount of stretch, but with a less stress on some of those other body parts. Go ahead and bring your right leg forward again and switch sides one more time on each side here. Doing our little turnstile all the way over to the right. Right leg forward. Make sure your left leg is free to walk back. Knee points down. Tuck your tailbone forward. Now for an interesting twist this time, no matter where you're at, which version of this pose you're taking, If it feels okay for your neck, drop your chin to your chest. And for some reason, this creates a little bit of a different shape in your upper body, which for most people will increase the stretch in the front of your back leg. Lift your chin, left leg forward, turning around to the left for our last time. Left thigh supported on the chair, your right leg walks back. Point your knee down and in, tuck the tailbone forward, and then again, no matter which version of the pose you're taking, you might like to try this version. Keep your shoulders stacking over your hips, just drop your chin towards your chest, create a slight rounding in the upper spine, which is going to create more stretch in the front of your back leg. Lift your chin, bring your right foot forward, and turn right back to the front. We're going to take a quick version of eagle pose here, seated in the chair, and then we will have a few balancing poses that we'll do. So start with your feet and legs together or almost together, and then take your left leg up and over your right. Now your up and over might look more like this, or you might be able to get your knees to squeeze all the way together. If you want to go to the capacity that works for you today, then squeeze your shins in towards each other, making both legs really strong. Lift your chest. You can stay right here, or take left elbow under right, give yourself a big hug. If that feels okay, maybe press backs of hands or palms together for eagle arms. Press your right foot down to the ground and clamp your legs closed. Draw waistline to spine, lift your elbows slightly. Take one more inhale. Exhale, unwrap your arms, unwrap your legs, and switch sides. Right leg up and over your left. Again, yours might look more like this with your knee up higher. You might be able to get your knees closer together. Squeeze your shins in. Press your left foot down to the ground firmly. Stay right here or add the arms. Right elbow under left. Give yourself a big hug. Stay here or press backs of hands or bring palms together for a double wrap. Draw waistline to spine. Grow taller, lift your chest. Maybe lift your elbows. Big breath in. Exhale, unwrap. Unwrap your legs. Take your feet hip distance apart. Press your feet down firmly. Feel your seat sliding back. Take an inhale. Exhale, hinge forward, folding. Maybe noticing a little extended range of motion. Maybe walking your hands down towards your feet or ankles or even fingertips to the ground. If you do touch down to the ground, press the ground away from you with your hands and with your feet. Feel your seat slide back in the chair a little. Roll back upright. Big breath in. Long breath out. One more time, big inhale. And exhale. We're going to take Warrior 3, which is a balancing pose. If you prefer to stay seated, I suggest here that you practice bringing your legs in as close as you like them to go, pressing your feet down really firmly, like power pose that we've done a few weeks previous, and squeezing shoulders together on your spine. From the side view, this looks like this. If you would like to stand up, go ahead and make your way up and out of your seat. Come around to the back of the chair. I'm going to again turn to the side so you can see me a little more clearly. Start with feet right underneath your hips. Hands rest comfortably. Again, noticing, are my hands unconsciously making me lean back or lean forward? Or am I still standing up as tall as I can with my own strength and just using the chair for a little bit of extra support? Transfer the weight into your right leg. Take a slight bend in your right knee and slide your left toes back behind you. Tone your inner thighs together, and just like in Warrior 1, point both hips towards the chair. Then start with your tippy toe down and hinge from the hip crease. Resist the urge to lift your toe right away if you know where we're going. Once your torso is parallel or as close to it as you'd like to go today, you're welcome to keep your toe down or start to float your back leg up off the ground. Extend forward through the crown of your head, back through your lifted leg, and tone your inner thighs together a lot. A little bit of bend in your standing leg can be incredibly beneficial here. Avoid locking your knee out straight. Touch your tippy toe down first, then hinge upright. Then step your left foot underneath you. Shift side to side a few times. And then switching sides, put the weight in your left foot, little bit of bend in your left knee. Right toe slide back behind you, right up on that tippy toe. You're welcome to stay here or begin to hinge from the hip crease, lowering your torso, but keep your toes down. Resist that urge to let your toe float right up. When your torso is parallel or close to it, you can keep your toe down or float your back foot up off the mat. Notice that your right hip might want to lift up and kind of point your knee and your big toe out to the side. Spin that hip to point down toward the ground and extend back strong through your lifted leg. To come out, let your toe come down first. Then bring your torso upright and step your foot underneath you. Now, if you thought to yourself, Leah, letting my toe come down first seemed like a really hard way to get out of the pose. You're absolutely right. It builds a lot more strength that way. So it's a really good way to kind of sneak that in. So if you thought that, good job. Back to the right leg again. Move the weight over onto your right side. Slide your tippy toe back behind you. Keep the toe down as you hinge from the hip crease. Think hips back, head extends out, long spine. And then stay here or float your back foot up off the mat. You want to keep your back leg strong and engaged, and you might like to flex your foot. You might like to point your foot. Do whichever one you prefer. Just make sure you engage all the way through your toes. It will help your balance immensely. Lower your foot back down. Then bring your torso upright. Left foot steps forward. Shift side to side. And last time here, weight in your left leg. Slide right tippy toes back. A little bit of bend in your left knee as you hinge from the hip crease. You can use the chair to support your torso if you want to get down to this lower stance. And some of that will depend on the height of your chair and your own height as well. When you're ready, flow your right leg back. I hadn't mentioned this previously, but of course you're always welcome to try floating your hands off the chair, taking that balance, even if it's just for a second. Lower right toes. Hinge upright, and step your right foot forward by your left. Shift side to side a few times. We're going to practice half moon pose. Step around to the left side of your chair. If you're seated, practice warrior two. Take your feet out wide. On the left side of your chair, turn your right toes to point directly towards your chair. Either with your hand on the back of your chair, or you can bend your knee a little and take your hand down to the seat. Left hand to your hip. Put the weight in your right leg. You might just lift up to your left toe, or lift your left leg out to the side. Now, unlike warrior three, where our goal was to spin both hips down towards the ground, our goal here is to open the hips up as much as possible, stacking in one vertical stack. If you feel comfortable, you might even send your left arm up. Release back out carefully, bend your knee, and come upright. To switch sides, walk around to the opposite side of your chair, standing over to the right. Turn your left toes to face towards the chair, and either hold the back of your chair or hand on the seat. If you can, bend your knee and get your hand to the seat. It's often a lot more stable. Then slide your right toes out, maybe staying here or maybe starting to float that leg up. Your leg does not have to get all the way up to be in line with your hip. It could be a little bit lower, but what you want to do is work on stacking open hips and shoulders. If you feel comfortable, maybe right arm goes up. Release, hand to hip. Bend your knee to bring right foot down, and then slowly coming upright. Walk back around to your chair. Find your seat. We're going to take a quick opening for the front of the body. I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see a little bit better. After this opening in the front of the body, we will be through to just some of our final moments of class, our final stretches. So if you'd like to take an opportunity to do some of your own work or maybe some stretches on the floor that I don't usually cover, you're certainly welcome to, and now would be the time to do that. Plant your feet underneath your knees, shins vertical, be kind of on the edge of your seat, just as we have been for most of class. Option 1, take your hands on the seat beside or behind you. I have these nice diagonal guys that I can hold on to, but depending on your chair, you may or may not have something similar. Draw your shoulders down and back and lift your chest. So this is option 1, just working to take a little bit of back bend here, sending chest forward, squeezing shoulders in. Option 2, plant your palms beside or behind you on the chair and start to put a little bit of weight in your hands. Press for your feet, and you might find that you can lift your seat up, even if it's just a little bit or just for a moment. If this feels okay for you, you can press through your hands and seat and lift your seat all the way up into a modified bridge pose. Squeeze shoulders in on your spine, press your feet down. Release your seat back down, release out, maybe shift side to side or take a cat pose if that feels good to you. Setting up one more time. Again, option 1, hold on to your seat, lift your chest, keep your seat firmly planted in the chair. Option 2, take your hands beside or behind you, lean back to put a little weight in your hands, squeeze your shoulders in and lift your chest. If that still feels okay and you feel supported here, press your feet down, tuck your tailbone, lift your hips up. Maybe it's only a little, maybe it's only for one breath, one moment. One more inhale, and exhale, release your seat back down. Again, maybe shifting side to side, taking a few movements here in the spine. And we'll set up for one more forward fold. Shoulders over hips, sit up tall, inhale. Exhale, hinge from the hip crease, lean forward. If you find you have a lot of room to stretch here in the forward fold, really speaks to you, what you might do is from the start, take your feet out and do that heel flex version. That's going to get more into the backs of your legs here. No requirement to do so, just an offering for those who might like. Roll yourself back upright on an inhale and exhale, release out. One more big breath in. Long exhale. Take your feet a little closer to you. Lift up onto your tippy toes. Squeeze your calves, squeeze your heels up. And then release down. If that was really difficult to do, try getting your feet closer to you. That will likely make it a little bit more doable. One more time, lift your heels up. Press your tippy toes down. And then release down. Take your feet back farther away from you than we typically do. Flex your toes up and back towards you. You can stay like this, or you might want to play with opening and closing from the hip crease so your entire leg moves together. Then come back to center. Release your toes back down. And take your feet underneath you. You might want to scoot back in your chair, sitting a little bit more comfortably, but I do suggest keeping your spine slightly away from the back of your seat to allow the musculature in your core and in your back to support you, building more strength here. Take your hands down by your sides, roll your wrists out a few times. Go out to the side, continue to roll those wrists, or even shake it out if that's what you like. A little higher, and all the way up overhead, rolling out. Then release your arms back down. Bring palms together at heart center. Interlace your fingers to the webbing and press your thumb tips together. Come a little closer so you can see what I mean. Rather than interlacing thumbs like this, and that'll bring your pinkies apart, you want to interlace all the way across and thumbs press together like so. Then flip your palms away from you. Straighten your arms as much as you like. You can stay right here or begin to lift your arms up overhead. As you bring wrists back in line over shoulders, press up through the heels of your hands. Squeeze arms in by ears. Press down gently with your feet to build a little bit more support here from the ground all the way up. Take one more inhale. On your exhale, shake it out all the way down. Take both hands out in front of you. Make a fist, point your knuckles down. A little bit of stretch in the front of the wrist. And then open your fingers wide, draw fingers back towards you. Make stop hands, pressing heels of hands forward. Again, make a fist, point your knuckles down. And then opening up stop hands, draw fingers back towards you. Last time, make a fist, point your knuckles down. Open up, make stop hands. And release out. Little stretch for the neck. Remember, the neck can be a really sensitive spot, so you want to move really gently with yourself. Just kind of stop at each step and reassess. Okay, is this good? Should I move on? Should I stay here? Start with right hand on your right cheek and just gently letting your ear come down towards your shoulder. Continue to support with your hand if you like, or you might find you like to take that hand away and kind of let gravity do its thing. Your left shoulder relaxing down away is going to be what creates the stretch more than anything else. So it's not so much about how close your ear gets to the right side, but more about if your left shoulder stays low. If this feels okay, you might take your hand over and around onto the left side of your head and just let your elbow fall down and in. Don't pull down with your arm, just letting the weight of your own hand add a little gentle pressure. Come back up through center, support your head coming back through the center, then left hand to cheek. Supporting your head as you gently let your left ear come towards your left shoulder, maybe staying right here. Maybe you find it's okay to take your hand away. Remember, the right shoulder relaxing is going to be what creates the stretch. If you'd like, weight of your left hand over on the opposite side of your head, and just gently thinking elbow down and in, not pulling, but letting the weight of your arm create a little bit more stretch. Support your head coming back up through center, and then allow your chin to drop towards your chest. You might stay here, or if this feels okay, and you'd like more stretch here, interlace your hands behind your head, not your neck. Your head, not your neck. Then let elbows draw down and in towards each other. Again, not pulling, just creating a little bit more stretch with the weight of your hands and arms. You might feel a slight rounding in your upper spine. Release your hands. Gently lift your chin. For our last neck stretch here, you want to start with your knees hip distance apart, and then turn your gaze over the line of your left knee. So it's a slight 45. Then tilt your head forward and down in that same line towards your left knee. If you'd like, you can take your left hand behind your head, not your neck, and add a little bit more pressure. If you'd like, you might sneak your right hand beside or behind you on the chair to continue to draw your shoulder away. Release your left hand, lift your chin once more, and then turn your gaze over your right knee, kind of to that 45. Again, you might set up with your left arm behind you, or you might keep it on your leg for more support. Let your chin gently drop, keeping your head in the direction of that right knee, And then if you would like more stretch here, and only if this feels okay, and you think, all right, I would like a little more, right hand behind your head, not your neck, adding a little bit of that gentle pressure. Release your right hand, lift your chin, turn your face back to center. Starting to set up for a really brief meditation today. Maybe finding a more comfortable seat, or if you prefer to take your seat on the floor, absolutely do so. Rest your hands comfortably on your legs or in your lap. Allow chin to drop halfway to your chest. And you can either close your eyes or simply gaze softly at the floor. Start to relax, release tension. Unfurrow your brow. Unclench your jaw. Let your shoulders get a little heavier. For much of class today, we've practiced pressing feet down into the ground. So simply let the ground support you. And start to notice your breath. Inhale and exhale. You want to find a breath pace that's a little bit deeper, a little more intentional than just your everyday breath, but not so deep that it requires much effort for you to maintain. Walking the line here between ease and effort. You might have a mantra or meditation that you enjoy. You're certainly welcome to it. If you find that your mind tends to wander easily, something really comforting can be to count silently to yourself the pace of your inhale and exhale. At first, you'll likely find that your exhale takes a little bit longer to empty out all the air. Shift the pacing of your breath slightly so that over time, full inhale and complete exhale take the same number of counts. At the end of your next exhale, start to allow your breath to go to its natural rhythm. Make yourself more comfortable in your seat, or if you like a supine shavasana, you can lay down, maybe letting feet go wide, toes fall open. Rest your arms comfortably on your legs or in your lap. Allow eyes to close and give yourself a moment to just be here. Shavasana, rest. Begin to deepen your breath. Maybe taking little movements to hands and feet. If you're laying down, take a moment to find your way up to your seat, sitting up tall. If you like, you might reach up for one more stretch. Then bring palms to heart center. We'll close with the sound Om one time. You're always welcome to sing along or listen. Release your air. Full breath in. Thumbs to forehead center. With gratitude for this practice. Namaste. Thank you all so much for joining in and sharing your practice. Reach out if you have any feedback or comments or anything. You can always reach out to the community life team or to me in the restaurant. I hope you all have a safe and happy rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much.